Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So we're here with Brother Amir. I'm going to do this student-led discussion by me, Hassan Ahmed. And let's just get straight into it, inshallah.
Inshallah.
So we're here at Heritage High School. Tell us about your day. You were here with us the whole day. You were here giving some wise talks, you know. So yeah, just tell us about that.
Naam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Naam. Bismillah. Walhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Today was a very intense experience. First of all, I haven't been in a school setting in a very, very long time, so it brought back a lot of memories during the time, I was in school. And just seeing, how, students still respond to school, and just the different variations of energy. Mm-hmm. So I've been in this building today since about 6:30 this morning. So I've been here all day. I done played basketball, I done gave talks, I done actually literally ran 4 or 5 periods of class. Not a single teacher has spoken to their class today. I've been the teacher in each one of these classes, so it was definitely a very, beneficial day.
Mm-hmm. And give us some insight into some of those talks that you give our students today.
I mean, some of them was just general conversations revolved around responsibility and adulthood. Because the thing about, many of the students here, it's just a matter of time before they start acquiring the responsibilities of being an adult. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure, parents try to instill certain things in their children. And, from the demographic here, a lot of it comes from a very deep-rooted, strong culture, being East African. So a lot of it may be kind of, repetitive, so to say. Mm-hmm. But for me, I'm a parent as well, and I grew up in this culture. I've been exposed to everything that, a lot of the youth here is being exposed to. So I may have a different, insight or methodology in how I kind of rear or cultivate, my children.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
So to try to add some of that on top of what's already in place, as far as the structure that's established in the homes today, I try to connect with the youth today just to know, just to allow them to see that, all parents ain't out of the loop.
Most definitely.
Yeah, I know what's going on out here, and it's I can connect with young people in a way that maybe some parents can't. Mm-hmm. So I think that was the defining factor or the dynamic of the conversations that we had today, and the responses was beautiful because a lot of people honestly said they don't feel like they're adults yet, and that's important to be honest, because there's one thing about trying to be an adult and actually understanding first and foremost what an adult is, and then actually ascribing yourself or accepting the role and responsibility that comes with being an adult.
Mm-hmm. We talked about a lot of responsibility today.
Responsibility.
And talking about responsibilities in households where parents, they instill Islam in their children. And in our 6th period class today, we were talking about, just to switch that, we're talking about the sahaba. We're talking about sahaba.
Absolutely.
And we had a long discussion. About 10 different sahaba.
Yeah, it's like a test. I always try to test the youth because we loosely ascribe ourselves to being Sunni Muslims. Mm-hmm. So it's not just a badge of honor that you could just wave around. You actually have to understand the Sunnah and its people, the people who conveyed the Sunnah to us. So a lot of times, because of all of the distractions that a lot of the youth come across, they have, in some way, neglected the attachment to the Sahaba. Mm-hmm. But this particular type of test, it kind of ignites a fire that not completely died, but you kind of illuminate it when you tap into that. And we had fun today, because when I said I removed the 4 rightly guided khulafah. So you can't have Abu
Yes.
Bakr, you can't have Umar, you can't have Uthman, you can't have Ali, right?
Yes.
So now you got to give me 10, companions. And when I mentioned it, everybody kind of locked up because they thought that the burden of all 10 was on their shoulders.
Yes.
But then when we started to work together, you find 2, you find 1, so on and so forth, we could have easily had maybe over 20.
Yes.
So it's just a process I like to engage the youth, especially the Muslim youth, of course, to make sure that you're still in tune with those who sacrifice, so that we can call ourselves Muslims today.
And personally, you were talking about how you should ascribe yourself with a certain sahaba, so you can have a role model, because it ties into the youth. There's a lot of influences and a lot of different things. But when you have that one role model, it helps you navigate.
As Muslims, we all know it's impossible for us to actually follow the Prophet ﷺ in totality, right? So when I was young, I used to collect baseball cards. So to have a star player's rookie card was a big deal.
Definitely.
So I created this thing where, everyone should have their Sahaba rookie card. Find a Sahaba that you share some likeness with, learn about him, and utilize his, mannerisms, his characteristics, and how he dealt with matters, and use that to navigate through, the life and society that we live in right now. And I found it to be extremely beneficial, because if you really venture into the study of the companions, you'll find some likeness. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'll never be able to achieve, with the companions, radiallahu anhum, what they accomplished, but to find one. And I always share this with people. My favorite was Musab ibn Umayyah. Because Musab ibn Umayyah, he was the flower of Mecca. He was one of the flyest guys in Mecca before Islam. He used to get his shoes imported from Yemen. He was just immersed in a lifestyle that I understood. So then fast forward, you look at the sacrifices that he made and how he died during the Battle of Uhud. Even the extent of his dawah, and he participated in both migrations, to Abyssinia and to Mecca. So he was very instrumental in the very pinnacle time of, the first generation of Muslims. And that's what spoke out to me.
And last night, alhamdulillah, we talked last night.
Yeah, I was
you were introducing me to something that you're going to be starting soon, called the Sahaba Project.
The Sahaba program.
Tell us more about that.
Well, it's something that I'm actually scheduled next weekend to go to Philadelphia and Imam Muslim Family Center. I'll be spending like 3 days. I'll be visiting Philly for twice a month. So from Friday, Jumu'ah, then Saturday and Sunday, I'm gonna have these classes where basically we'll, visit or revisit, so to say, because it's not foreign to us, but to revisit the lives and the virtue and characteristics of the Sahaba. And then next, we'll go into finding a companion, that you show some similarity or likeness to, and then I'll partner people up, and then I would have to study your companion, and you study my companion. So I don't want to give up the whole program, but it's something that I think will get people a little bit more inclined to the Sahaba, and then, bring about, a newfound method of navigating through things, utilizing the virtue and characteristics of one of the best generations of human beings to walk this earth.
Alhamdulillah. And moving on to another project that we have here. Alhamdulillah, my mom is there in the back, Farahiyya Budul, of Nia Recovery Initiative. And that ties into a lot of things, getting individual you can ascribe yourself to, to navigate through all the influences and a lot of things. Here we have on the screen the website to Nia Recovery. And just scrolling through, I actually have a statement here that I have not remembered from the top of my head, but it is from, Nia. NIA is a recovery community organization focused on recovery from substance use disorders. NIA uses Islamic principles and instills things with the likeness of AA and NA to help people that are in the East African and Muslim population find and stay in recovery at the community level. And my mom, Farahia Budul, is the founder of NIA Recovery Initiative, and my mom is actually in long-term recovery, you know. And my mom changed her ways so you can do things and see a lot of the stuff that people do not talk about, you know, because there's a lot of shame and stigma, and it's hard because there's a lot of things influencing our youth, you know. So what the whole topic of the talk about today is.
Well, the beauty about what your mom, may Allah reward her abundantly, has created was something that, you know, I've also experienced growing up. You know, my mom's, she fell to substance abuse, and she's been clean for, man, over 25 years, you know. And it's like, and the thing is, like, we both was in the street at the same time. Like, my mother's like my sister. You know, my grandmother, Rahimahullah, she was my mother. But my mother was like my sister.
Wow.
So, you know, the things that I experienced in the street, a lot of it I did side by side with my mother.
Wow.
So it got to a point where her addiction almost led to my death.
Wow.
So I knew that she was always cognizant of, you know, my well-being. And the fact that it got to a point where that got away from her, we had made a pact. Like, I'm gonna stop hustling if you stop, you know, using drugs. And I remember the day I took her to the bus station. She went to Ward's Island in New York City, and she went to rehab, and she never looked back. And I stopped hustling, and I took the music business extremely serious, and I made it, and she made it. So, you know, this definitely resonates with me, and I think that it's very necessary to have these type of programs where anyone that suffers from any type of substance abuse should be able to seek refuge with people that you have a commonality in, preferably the Muslims.
Yes, I have.
Because if you have to go seek, you know, refuge with people who don't understand your belief system, then what happens is they utilize or try to use certain methods of reform or, you know, remedy that doesn't conform with your faith.
And we're not accustomed to.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, that would become conflicting with the whole objective of trying to get someone to recover from something as serious as substance abuse. So may Allah reward you abundantly.
I mean. And just talking about that, substance abuse is one of the biggest problems regarding to the youth. Even here in Minneapolis, we have people that are in our communities, the youth, and they're struggling with this. They're struggling, and there's so much shame and stigma around it. They can't go out for resources. They can't go out for help. They don't want to, and it feels like it got to the point where, you know, it's so much that they're too shameful to go out for help that you know, they don't want it at all anymore. You know.
Well, this is from the shaitan, you know.
Most definitely.
Because one thing I do know about, you know, Somali communities in particular, you know, I've traveled the world and I've been embraced by, you know, Somali communities around the world. And the one thing is you have a very tight-knit community.
Most definitely.
And the shame and embarrassment, you know what I'm saying, first and foremost should be for Allah Azza wa Jal, you know,
yes,
because this is something that's being witnessed and potentially held against you on Yawm al-Qiyamah.
Subhanallah.
But then when you're around people who remind you of Allah, it only intensifies the fear you already have, knowing that you are, you know, treading a path that leads to gradual destruction. That, you know, some may initially struggle with turning to Allah in regards to their fear, but then also seeking solace or, you know, refuge with people who supposed to have your best interest.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then your peers.
It's a trap.
The peers play a lot of, you know, they have a very significant role in all of this, because it's like the blind leading the blind. It's hard to talk to someone who's misguided as well. Like when you've been astray or led astray and you trying to find guidance or direction from someone who's just as lost, that's definitely gonna put you in a very stagnated place where you're just gonna remain suspended in that state until, you know, Allah wills, you know, or provides guidance for that individual. So, you know, we make dua for all our brothers and sisters who struggle with substance abuse.
I mean,
may Allah rectify their affairs.
I mean, and so yes, this is the website, nearrecoveryinitiative.org, and there's a lot of resources. You know, my mom's personal story. You know, it's just something that I believe that a lot of people who just want to learn more about it can go check out. Alhamdulillah. My mom has a lot of stuff over there about this. She has pins and a lot of different things. But yeah, you guys can go check that out. But another thing about the influences about substance abuse is they're shunned from society, right?
Yeah.
And they're so shunned. They don't want to reach out for help. They can't find jobs and a lot of different things, right? And then we see a lot of our brothers and sisters, subhanAllah, they're on the street. You know, they're on the street, and it's like something that everybody just turns and bats an eye to, you know, and it's sad, subhanAllah. Tell us more about things you've experienced, such as that.
Well, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, you know, many of the people in your community, majority, come from a structured environment. You know, some even deem it to be old school to an extent. Like, you know, mom, dad, they come from a very deep-rooted, you know what I'm saying, culture, migrated to this country, you know what I'm saying, to, you know, flee from things that may be an impediment for their children and try to provide a whole different life. It made a lot of sacrifices, right?
Yeah.
But what happens is, you know, anyone that falls into these type of situations, I'm pretty sure they reflect on that. All of those sacrifices that was made, everything that was considered for your well-being and on your behalf, you know, is a very shameful thing, you know what I'm saying, to deviate from that. And then also, you know, you got to take in consideration that this generation, meaning the parents, they don't understand this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, this is completely foreign. This is completely taboo.
This is a first generation problem. 100%.
Exactly. So it's like, this is, and we talked about this today in class, about, you know, coming from a certain type of structure and having to deal with another set of parents outside of your home, right?
Yes.
And I mentioned, like, you know, you have some of the imams in the masajid that you turn to facilitate your religious affairs, but then you go outside and you refer to Sheikh Google Ibn Twitter or Instagram, right? This becomes your sheikh outside of the house. So what happens is now you're dealing with two sets of parents.
Yes.
You have structure that you know comes from a sincere place, but is a little outdated. So you young and you engaging in a lot of stuff outside of the home that's contrary to everything that's inside of the home, but is attractive because it's new. And even though you're aware of the dangers, the curiosity and your desires drag you into a situation where you start indulging in these things. So, you know, the whole shunning part, I believe, is something that we all got to get better at. You know, and I actually learned this in prison.
Okay.
Because being in, you know, incarcerated in federal prison, you know, Islam is all we had, and that brotherhood is all we had. So we were able to overlook a lot of shortcomings and deficiencies that certain brothers had within the Jamaat, because it's already enough weighing on his shoulders. Got 10 years, 20 years, he's away from his family, may not have a lot of money on his books, you know, all kinds of things that's eating away at him. So the one flaw that he may have, instead of pushing him away, we would embrace each other. We would try to, support one another, you know, and just try to, you know, encourage them to do just the bare, bones of whatever you're capable of. And then try to grow. But start from somewhere. Yeah, you gotta start from somewhere. So inshallah, it's a very sensitive matter. It's very important that, people invest more time in understanding this matter and doing whatever you can within your scope to combat this matter, inshallah.
And you just touched on encouragement with, the brothers that were with you in prison.
Yeah.
And another thing you were talking about and very adamant about in encouragement is letting the youth know all of the avenues that they have available towards them, available to them.
Y'all got it sweet, man. It's crazy. Like, I know there's some brothers in here, some sisters in here that's, close to my age or, from my generation. We definitely didn't have the same amount of resources.
Yeah.
I was telling one of the teachers about having a pen pal. It used to be like a 3-month correspondence that consisted of maybe 4 letters. Take 3 weeks to get there.
3 weeks to come back.
3 weeks to come back. That's just to say hi.
Yeah.
And then like 2 more letters, and then you finally get a picture. I know who the guy looked like I'm talking to, and he's way in another country. And that was the, the extent, or that was the range of our communication.
Yeah.
So like now, the youth today, y'all got friends in Ireland.
Yeah, we ain't never even.
Yeah, you never even been there. You talking to, especially, alhamdulillah, especially the Somali community, y'all all over the planet. So y'all networking on a level that surpasses social media. Y'all can have your own social media just on the phone. You don't even need, social media. But it's like you have all this access, and you have all these options. And this is why a lot of the youth are so confused. Because growing up, we had 3-4 choices. That's it. Like, you either gonna do this, or you gonna do this, or you ain't gonna do nothing.
And what were those?
Oh man, you gonna hit the street. You gonna play basketball.
Or you gonna fiddle with them?
Or you gonna try to rap or something like that. But after that, you dead. There ain't nothing else really for you to do. And this is before Islam, So you gotta understand, my options were slim. And I dabbled in all 3, streets. I tried to play ball, and I was fortunate by Allah's decree to make it in the music business, right? At the time, I thought that was an achievement, but it was really just the streets magnified. It wasn't really much of an escape. But anyway, what I'm saying is, the reason why kids today are so distracted is because you have so many options. You start off with this, you don't like it, you go to something else. You sit out with this. Then you're looking at a kid who got 60 million views for sitting in front of the camera doing something really stupid, and they go viral, right?
And you want to do that too.
So now you want to do that too. You know what I'm saying? And now that's like, you don't have to do no work. You know what I'm saying? Just sit up there, play with your face, and do something crazy.
If he can do it, I can do it too.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's not even an option when I was growing up. That was not an option. You know what I'm saying? To sit in front of a camera and entertain a person within a 30-second clip, and it just goes viral, and everybody else wants to imitate you.
Yeah. So
you got all that. I mean, there's so many distractions out there. So many distractions out there. You have, just abundance of things.
And yesterday you were talking about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, and you, when by the will of Allah, alhamdulillah, you did get released last year. And something you were telling me about was your own project that is started, or president of Paid Meals. Tell us more about that.
Paid Meals.
Let me just switch the.
Paid Meals is a mobile application that was founded by a Bengali sister from Bangladesh. And she's been in the tech business for over 10 years. Me, myself, I was always inclined to the tech business. I always understood it, since I was a child. When people was buying like Sega and Nintendo, I bought a Commodore 64. So I always was inclined to technology. I went to computer school, junior high school, and Qadarullah, our paths crossed. And when she presented this project to me, she had just finished really going live. And it was during the pandemic. And the app was so successful, it got such an influx of traffic that the app wasn't able to scale.
Wow.
So she had to shut it down. So now, as partners, we started building the 2.0 version of paid meals. So just to describe a little bit of what paid meals is a pay it forward app. It allows, contributors to purchase meals for people in need through registered paid meals vendors. So for example, if we seen an individual walking down the street in need, he's hungry, right? He can give you the whole backstory and everything. I was in Vietnam vet, whatever. He's hungry. I can actually go on the application, purchase him a meal from any local paid meals vendor. Then he can walk right into that restaurant or any food vendor, preferably a restaurant, and sit down and have a dignified meal. So no one would even know what his issue is, what his story is. His dignity and his honor would be sustained. So he's literally coming in and redeeming a meal no different than anybody else that walks into a restaurant and pays for a meal. So this is in direct, accordance to what we practice in Islam. Is to try to preserve and protect the honor, first and foremost, of the believers, but we also supposed to extend that to those in need, period. We're supposed to be the best of the people for the people. So this platform and this mobile application, we believe, by the mercy and permission of Allah, is going to impact hunger on a major scale. Because what we've done, we've made charity extremely seamless and easy, to donate, for someone in need.
Alhamdulillah, we have the link right here for people who want to become food vendors. And this room, we might own restaurant owners and people in the communities.
I was riding around, I seen a bunch of them, so it's like, I don't know, if there's a goat alive or a chicken or anywhere. I mean, I just seen abundance of, Somali restaurants all over the city. So, I would urge you to, go to www.paidmeals.com. The landing page is live right now. You can go in the app and register as a paid meals vendor. Just for example, I'm gonna show you what the app does. Or just an example of what paid meals is. So paid meals, as you can see, in the promo video, the woman never showed a phone. The brother that was sitting next to her, he seen that she was having, probably the daughter requested, Mommy, I'm hungry. She went in her bag, seen she didn't have sufficient funds. He overhears it. He goes straight on the app, purchase her a meal within walking distance. She walks inside the restaurant. She gives the sister the secret phrase because she didn't have a phone. So this app even applies to people who don't have a phone. So if you have a phone, you can register as a receiver and request meals that contributors see these notifications, purchase those meals, and you can go eat in any, respected or registered paid meals vendor. So paid meals vendors consist of, grocery stores, restaurants, food trucks, food carts, and certified chefs. So I'm not talking about you know how to cook good. I'm talking about certified chef, because you got to be held accountable to all the health standards. And, and you're able to actually cook 50 meals in your home that you can, make available for receivers to redeem and, basically, tend to someone in need. So the benefit, since we're talking about registering as food vendors, the benefit is that when we first went live, we learned that restaurants increase their revenue by minimal of 25%, because you're bringing in a whole nother demographic on top of their normal clientele. Then it increases in customer loyalty, because anyone that sees anyone that's a registered paid meals vendor is like, this person has some type of humanitarian quality. So it increases the loyalty of your customers. They want to do business with someone who extends their business to help other people. So we've came up with every variation you can think of when it comes to giving back. So inshallah, bi'ithnillah ta'ala, this app will be live, if not the end of October, inshallah, sometime in the month of November.
Inshallah, I urge everybody to go look into it. This is an amazing way for sadaqah. This is this is next level.
Yeah.
The person, the owner of the store doesn't even need to know that you didn't even buy the meal.
Yeah.
It takes away all the shame, takes away.
And we were talking about that, shunning people, shame people. And a lot of times, if you look at the example that we have in the promo video, is that people always associate hunger with homeless people. Hunger is anybody that's hungry and don't have the means to suffice. You're hungry. Because if you can't go in your pocket and deal with that right away, then you have a hunger problem, right? And sometimes this hunger problem, it lasts for hours, sometimes it lasts for days, sometimes it lasts for weeks. Then you got people that live right above the poverty line. They make enough money to get back to work. So they work full weeks and only have money at the end of the week to get back to work.
SubhanAllah.
You know what I'm saying? So this also applies to them. Then you have government programs, corporations, nonprofit organizations, they can purchase meals in bulk through paid meals. Mm-hmm. So this doesn't just stop with the individual. This is something that, because there's a lot of money that's invested in hunger, but it's not being allocated properly. So we feel like when, what we've created was a network between receivers, contributors, receivers, and food vendors. So basically, and a lot of y'all familiar with this, because your community actually implements some variation of paid meals. Because and not just Somalis, just a lot of foreigners in general, when they come to America, they find a way to work within their own community and grow. You understand? With no reliance on government grants, no reliance on, split-tongued politicians, whatever the case may be. We work within the confines of what's already in place. And that's something that, African American communities, that I come from, we have a problem with this because we're from here. So the urgency or the need or the necessity to unite upon something like this is very, very damaged because of 500 years of, disenfranchisement and so on and so forth. But I believe that paid meals would be the perfect platform to start changing that narrative, changing that dynamic, and enabling people to seamlessly use the thing that you use all day. You use this all day, And a lot of times, we see people and we think they may be struggling with substance abuse, so we don't feel too reluctant, to give them our money. Because it's like, nah, you're going to take my money and get drunk. But if I purchase a meal for you, you're going to get some food, right?
Regardless if you like it or not.
Regardless whether you like it or not, whether you drunk, whether you trying, I don't care what you're trying to do. My affair is solidified with Allah Azza wa Jal. Like, Allah knows my intention. I purchase you some food. If you take the food and stand outside the restaurant and sell that plate, that's on you. But to be able to provide that opportunity, it speaks volumes. Barakallahu feek.
And alhamdulillah, this is a discussion, so I see people raise their hands, some people do want to ask questions, but before we get to that, there's one more thing.
Okay.
One more thing, maybe even more, but one thing that's on our
whole
screen.
day been maybe one more. Yo, you shoot another game. Let's play like this. But
there is something that you are doing on Saturday morning.
Oh yeah. Now I'm gonna just tell you, just because of some of the handshakes I've given some of you brothers here today, I hope y'all are present with the boot camp. So it's a Loon to Amir Rip Right boot camp. My brother Shuaib Islam, he's coming out here from Brooklyn, and we have this fitness collaboration where we're doing calisthenics. And basically it's for beginners, intermediate, and experts. So however you feel about yourself is room for you. If you're a beginner, you come in, exercises basically start at a beginner's pace, and we start to evolve. You know.
And this is something I've seen this on TikTok. Right before I even knew you were going to come to school, I've seen Shu'aib on TikTok.
Yeah.
You know, it's something. It's intense.
Yeah. See, a lot of times people look at the exercises that we do. You know, I was incarcerated for 9 years. I had the opportunity to perfect the workouts that I do. I don't expect you to do that. You know what I'm saying? Especially like, you know, we charge, you know, $50 and we disclose the location to people that registered. So we try to keep it exclusive and make it, you know, specifically for the individuals who, you know, registered to come out and, you know, get treated fairly. You know, I know it say boot camp, so, you know, when you think boot camp, you think like somebody screaming at you, hollering at you, get up, man, do another one. What I said, get up, like, nah, we ain't doing that. We literally trying to show you some of the different variations of workouts we used to utilize when we was in federal prison. Because we have very minimal resource, we have very minimal nutrition. So when you see a guy coming home, you know, and I mean, at least somebody that's shy. I'm not talking about somebody come and walk around the street with no shirt on, but I'm just saying, when you see somebody come home and they physical, you know what I'm saying, features are like, wow, you know, you was just in a place where all they served was mackerel and a whole bunch of, you know, high cholesterol, high sodium, just bad stuff. How were you able to transform all of that, you know, minimal nutrition, minimal resources as far as equipment and so on and so forth, and turn it into something as, you know, beautiful as being, you know, fit. So we just want to be able to like share that experience without you having to go to jail. We don't want nobody to go to prison. But you know, if you're curious about what's going on in there, we can show you how you're free. Like, you don't have to go to jail. Learn how to do no push-ups. I'll show you how to do a push-up right now if I need to. If we're going to keep you out of jail, I'll teach you how to do a push-up right now. Inshallah.
Inshallah. So, yeah, I saw some sisters, some brothers raise their hand earlier. You know, honestly, we could take this time to do a Q&A.
Absolutely, inshallah.
So, I don't know how we're going to set this up. Does anybody who had a question, inshallah, just raise your hand and ask a question to any of the topics that we asked before. We can take it all the way back to the influences on the youth or something about paid meals. So inshallah, somebody can ask a question if you guys want to. Yeah,
inshallah, I'm gonna just give you a disclaimer. I just want you to keep the questions within the confines of what we discussed today. Please. I've been, you know, alhamdulillah, I mean, the shabab today, oh man, they asked me everything from my blood type. I mean, it was just bad, you know what I mean? But it was good, but it was bad, you know what I'm saying? So, alhamdulillah, inshallah.
So the boot camp, is it for females and males?
It's for males only right now. Until we find, you know, a sister that can work out to the same level without having to go to prison, then maybe we'll. But actually, the brother, his wife, she's like that. I don't know if you ever looked at Instagram, like she being full khimar, niqab, everything, doing pull-ups and dips with the best of them. So, you know, we're trying to build it up to a point where we can control the modesty that takes place. Because even with us doing the boot camp, we actually invite, you know, non-Muslims as well. So at some point, there's only a limit to how you govern the workout. So like if dude come and he want to have a tank top on and no shirt on, I can't tell him, look, man,
yeah,
I can't say taqillah. He looking at me like, well, that's what something we gonna eat after we work out? Like, nah, I'm saying, you don't feel uncomfortable? You know, I can't do that. You know, just like, you know, funny, I don't listen to music. People were even saying, like, you know, I go to barbershops and stuff. I'm gonna fight the whole barbershop, tell them to turn the radio off. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just certain things that is outside of, you know, my control.
That you can't go.
So when it comes to women, have to take in consideration that there might be non-Muslim women as well that want to come and it gets bad, you know what I'm saying? Well, if it's facilitated by sisters, that's cool, that'd be our thing. But, you know, I try to, you know, feel Allah to the best of my ability. Alhamdulillah.
Is it going to be here in Minnesota or somewhere?
Yes, it's this Saturday. It's this Saturday, so yeah. Yeah, that's right. Him. Yeah, we want him. Alhamdulillah.
And then on top of that, you added that any kid, any student from
Any student
from
that was
Heritage
present today can come for free.
come for free. No, not $50. They can come for free.
They come for
Just
free.
waltz in.
Yeah, because I know you want to do something else with your $50. I don't want to take your money. But there's other people who, have jobs, responsibilities, and they're able to spend $50 for the experience. Alhamdulillah, it's a beautiful thing.
Alhamdulillah.
Because for real, honestly, it's just an opportunity to bond. And even we've been able to actually inspire some non-Muslims, because one thing I learned about the boot camp that we had in Atlanta and the one that we had in Philly is that people are more receptive to you when you go through something together. You know what I'm saying? So the level that we working out, all the huffing and puffing out of breath, it's almost like we went to war together. So it's like, it kind of breaks down a lot of layers where you can have conversation now because we've been through something together. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of acts as a means of diffusing certain negative energies, removing certain layers that, make people less social or whatever, and you start feeling like, man, we went through it together. Yeah, I'm tired, man. We drinking water, we sitting there, and we just kicking it, So I think it's just another extension of my stay here is to try to find another avenue to bond, with the people, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Any other questions?
Any other?
Inshallah? Great question. She says paid meals international. Now, we got to fix our house first, right? And we definitely gonna start on the national level. So once, inshallah, we're successful nationally, we definitely have intentions of expanding internationally, because the hunger problem in America is just rampant. When we did research, and the numbers has changed drastically, especially due to COVID. But if you look at Skid Row in LA, LA is number one. LA is the number one state in the country, that's suffering from homelessness. Second is Seattle, So just Skid Row is just one strip in LA. A statistic, I believe it was 2019, maybe even 2020, is over 68,000 people that's homeless on that one strip.
SubhanAllah.
So now, due to COVID, that number is probably doubled, And these people are just spread out all over the street now. So Skid Row is just a hub, but now you got tents set up all over the place. And then you have these residents in LA that's really appalled by this, and they just complaining, and they think somebody's supposed to just come sweep human beings off the street instead of trying to find a means to address the issue. And that's what we've done with paid meals. So yes, definitely we're going to start nationally, and we have intentions of taking paid meals internationally, inshallah.